My name is Miles, and I was addicted to heroin. Ever since I was little, I kind of did not know where I belonged. Being mixed race, my mother being Irish, coming from a predominantly white family, and my dad coming from the South, African American. I didn't know which side to fit in on. I didn't know who I was as a person. I got bullied a lot when I was younger. Would walk home from school and get beat up as a kid. My mom and I have always had problems. I started running away from home, going away for like months at a time, just not caring when to go home. I felt like my family was my friends at the time, which sooner in life realized that they didn't care anything about me. I started smoking weed and drinking about 12, 13 years old. I was out drinking with a bunch of friends and my mom kept telling me to come home. I was just totally gone, didn't care. I walked into the house and just walked into my room and I remember her coming in and just yelling at me, just like, "Oh, you've been drinking." Laid in my bed and I passed out and I woke up and like every poster on my wall, everything that I had hung, just everything was torn down. That happened for 3 years. 18 years old, well, I had my kid, my son. I found out that I was having a kid when I was incarcerated for, I believe, a breaking and entering that I did. I was sitting in there, I made a call to her just to see how she was doing, and she told me that she was pregnant. I told her, let's keep it, and in the back of my mind, I told her to keep it because I knew that it would keep me doing the right thing, which turned out to be the total opposite. 19, I started using Percocet, smoking them. Percocets turned into heroin. I was with a bunch of friends and we were going on like a blunt cruise. We were smoking weed. One of my buddies, he pulled out this like brown substance and I was just like, what is it? And he was just like, just trust me and just sniff it. So I didn't even think twice. I sniffed it and then nothing happened. I got dropped off, went back to my house, and I was sitting there with a friend on my couch watching a movie. Instantly when I sat down, I started nodding off, drooling all over myself. And he asked me, he was like, "Are you all right?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm just tired." I really didn't know what to think of it. And a couple months passed and a friend, we went for a drive and he started slamming the heroin. He started using it in an IV needle. I was just like, let me try it. He loaded it up. I didn't know what to do. He just stuck it in my arm. From then on, I fell in love with it. I didn't care about what anybody thought. It made me whole at the time. Remember the first time I went to rehab? It was like just after I started using needles, 19 years old. I was on a bunch of coke. I was freaking everybody out in my house. I started hallucinating and my brothers were just like pretty much done with me. My sister thought I was insane. I remember them asking me this question like what person in their right mind could spend $3,000 in 3 days and just have nothing left to give, you know? Like that wasn't even my money. I was gonna lose everybody in my family just because of my stupid mistakes on getting high. My brothers and sister didn't want to speak to me. They weren't talking to me. They wouldn't even look at me. They said, unless you go to rehab, then we're not gonna be in your life. That was like the first time I got introduced into like AA, rehab. I went out there and I was there for about 2 weeks. I really didn't pay attention to anything. I was just caring about like, okay, I'm gonna do the 30 days so like my family's happy. It lasted about 2 weeks and I was talking to my kid's mom on a day-to-day basis. And she was just telling me how she missed me. I missed my son dearly. That made me realize that like, I can just go home and I can just smoke weed, I can just drink, just like as a normal person. I don't have to use needles. I kept rationalizing the decision that I need to be home and take care of my son along with her. I got on the airplane, went back to Boston, and not even 24 hours when I was back home, I was back shooting heroin and coke. I kept manipulating her, stealing from her. I've gone through about 12 treatment centers, just rehab hopping, just not really giving it my all. We all went to a family church the night before Christmas just to spend it as a family, I went to go pull out my cigarettes out of my pocket, and I dropped a bag of heroin like right in front of my mom and my brothers. And my mom was just like, "Are you serious?" And I was just like, "Yeah, it's not what you think it is." And I was just trying to come up with excuses. So they pretty much just made the decision that that I couldn't come back home. My kid's mom got to the point where she was keeping her purse in her car. I took a crowbar and I popped her door open just so I could get my fix. The whole side fender of it was just ruined, you know, because I had no self-control. I had no self-control over myself or any of my actions. Like, I made the choices in my life to do what I do. I went to work the next day and I came back home and all of her stuff was gone. She packed all of her stuff. She packed all my son's stuff and she moved back in with her mom. And I tried to do everything in my power to rationalize the situation and to get her back, saying that I'll get the help or do whatever I need to make this right. She just was done. After she left, pretty much I just took pity on myself and just kept using. Got out to California, was in a treatment facility, still wasn't ready. Me and some of the guys in my house were planning on leaving. We were planning on leaving and going to get high. I had like friends out in Long Beach, so I had to connect. They split all three of us up, just like, because we all said that we were leaving, and they were like, "All right, well, you guys all three are leaving together." So pretty much they kicked me out and kept them. They dropped me off in Long Beach. I met up with my friend and turned me into selling meth and strung out on meth in Long Beach, which we don't have meth on the East Coast. Never done it in my life. It was just a totally different thing. It got to the point where I started slamming it. I started using a needle with it, and once again, it got me back paranoid. It got me peeking out windows, thinking that the cops are gonna come and arrest me, just in a bad space. I was honestly about to commit suicide. I was just done with my life. I knew that the only way that I could end it and just end all this misery was to just put as much as I could in a needle and just slam it and just go out like that. And I got a call from a lady that used to help me back in the past, and she was just like, "I know you're struggling, let me help you." And I was just like, "No, like, I'm okay, I'll be able to handle this." The driver ended up coming to the hotel to pick me up, and I was about to hop in the car, and I was just like, "Nah, I don't think I can do this." And I started walking back inside the hotel, and she was just like, "Miles, will you please get in the car?" I gave it that shot, and I got in the car and I went to treatment. Told them that I was gonna do 30 days and I was gonna go back to Boston. I was working on myself a lot, and 30 days turned into 90 days. I knew that 90 days could not hurt and that it would just better me as a person. I did an intensive outpatient for a couple months, and then did a sober living. My first convention was being in a room with like thousands of addicts sharing the same problems that you have, the same character defects, just same situations that I've been in, was just amazing. Like, that experience of being with people with multiple years in 10 years up to like 30, 40, 50 years, just insane amount of clean time. I knew from then that this is what I wanted. There was no going back for me, no going back to living this hopeless life. I ended up meeting one of my best friends. He told me, "Trust me, we should move to Arizona. Phoenix is the move." I didn't think it was a good idea at all. We opened up a company, freelance marketing companies. Ever since then, we've been like very successful. I'm so blessed to have the people in my life just there for me when I have a bad day. It's a blessing to have everybody that I love dearly in my life. The one thing that I don't have is my son. I've tried to reach out, and I totally get why she doesn't want to take that risk with me, And I do hope that soon that I'll be able to make that amends and be the father that I can be. I have a support group all across the United States. Life is great knowing that I don't have to be the person that I used to be, and that I don't have to put a substance in my body to make me happy. I'm okay with the person that I am today. Everybody in my life thought that I would never be able to get this, that I was just done for, that I was either gonna die or that I was just gonna keep just living this miserable life. And that if I can do it, if millions of other people can do it, it is possible.